So hi everyone. Welcome to our first episode of with Frank on product management. We're in the beautiful city of Brno. Brno is about 2 hours away. I think in between both Vienna, right, and Prague. It's a beautiful town. I think it's a student city.
We call Brno the last exit to Vienna.
What? That sounds more negative. The
Yeah.
I'll look that as a positive thing because at least you leave when you leave Brno, going to Austria, you leave a lasting impression on the city, right? Like a good lasting impression. So coming from Vienna, you're like, man, I miss the Czech Republic.
Brno is the last exit on the highway to Vienna. Yeah.
Oh God, that
No,
sounds like a sad thing.
actually, I love Brno. I was born in Brno, but lived in
Okay.
Prague for a while. But now I'm back, starting my company here, and I have to say that Brno is an amazing city with very good startup ecosystem.
Yeah.
So yeah, give it a try. Try Brno. It's like nothing else in the world.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I think it's all about I think what I like about it is that it's another tech ecosystem. That's why I'm super open to like visiting a lot of different tech communities, just because you can see the different personalities. You can see also the problems that different founders and tech people are trying to solve in these different cities. So I think Bruno. I mean, I haven't explored a lot of Bruno yet. I'm just here for a few days, but super open to like seeing what community you have here, Frank. And thank you for the invite, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you that you came.
So my name's Dustin Baliktar. I've been a product manager for about more than 15 years now. I built product around the world. I'm proud to say that I used to be based in the Philippines. Moved to San Francisco, worked at a startup also in Toronto in Canada just to try things out, and then went to Europe. Had a partner, a big enterprise partner, to build the POC for a meal kit, data-driven meal kit business. And then I've had more than 15 years of experience in product management, and looking to grow those years, more with product management because I have this love for building with founders that have fresh eyes. Yeah. How about you, Frank?
Yeah, I'm Frank, and I'm now based in Brno, where I started my agency. So we are helping startups with developing digital products. And as for me, I had a career in product management in Prague. With Dustin, we met on Tech Barbecue last year in September. So we were thinking that we might bring some conversation on product and on startups. Yeah. So yeah, very excited to be here. And
I think Frank, this is your dream since you were a kid.
Dreams come true. This is what I wanted to say. Dreams come true. This is our first podcast. So
yeah, for me, I found it a little bit, to be honest, a little bit cringy. Being able to do a podcast. But I feel like we have so much to say. And I think we have so much stories to tell. So I tried to consider the podcast as a storytelling, mechanism for us to really share more about our experience. So eventually, we might find some viewers or listeners out there that might relate to our stories and see how cool it is, building product, despite it being a little bit difficult,
Yeah. So in this episode, let's talk a little bit about selves so our listeners can relate to us and to our stories.
Yeah, totally.
Great.
Why don't we start with you first, man? How did you get into product management? Tell us your story.
So previously, I had the job as a project manager, and it's kind of funny how it naturally went because I started as a web engineer and designer, then transitioned to the project manager role without knowing there is something called product management or anything like this. So I worked in a company as a project manager. It was e-commerce, and in terms of efforts, it was a bit of mess, like siloed efforts in marketing department and sales department and other departments, not really working with each other. And then we had a call with some development design agency, and they introduced me a concept of product discovery. And I was like, ooh, product discovery, what is it? Yeah. So they introduced me to the concept. And I was so amazed that you can actually, when we develop some new features on the e-commerce store, that you can actually measure the impact of those features. how they impact your conversion rate, for example. And the other thing was that you work based on goals and on outcomes, and that each department can have outcomes that are aligned with the other departments. So this was the first time I got kind of into the product management and outcome-based product development. And the second time was that very soon after this, I signed up for design thinking course by Google.
Yeah.
It was for one day, and it was amazing. Like really doing the discovery and defining the problem and the empathy with the users, right? And then designing the solution. So after that, I decided for sure that I want to solve problems for customers by designing the solutions in terms of products. So this was the way how I decided to go to the product management. Yeah.
IDEO was actually a big thing,
Yeah.
I think a few years ago, and that's how a lot of people got into tech when
Yeah.
they joined some of these IDEO sessions where they tried to brainstorm how to solve different problems in more creative ways. So I think it was, being able to have these design thinking as a foundation or framework allowed a lot of people to really think more out of the box and get into tech because they feel like, man, this is so interesting, and you can do so much with building software. And obviously product management is not only software, it's also hardware. But a lot of people, I think it's an easier way to break into tech working on software, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Frank, tell me more about your previous experience and what helped you and which part of your experience actually helped you with the current product manager that you are now.
Yeah, it was kind of a journey to find the product management because I started as a web engineer. I sold my first website on WordPress or something like this for when I was like 13 years old or something like this. Yeah, but I also did some custom development on PHP and stuff. But I have to tell that I think I was a horrible engineer, like really horrible engineer.
At least you became an engineer, man. I'm really bad at coding. That's why I think part of my brain was like, I love tech, but I don't think I can build stuff, and code stuff, so.
Yeah, but there was one particular thing that I noticed that customers love to talk with me. They love to explain their problems because I could watch the problems from their perspective and really talk with them, without all the nerdy stuff, let's say.
Yeah.
So this was one thing that I seen that was working. And I knew nothing about sales or outcome-based product development or something like this. But I could understand the problem and pitch the customers good solution for the problem. And the customers really appreciated that approach, that it didn't happen only once to me, that I was working like a freelancer, remote engineer, coding a website, but I was always talking with the CEO about different stuff. So after some time, I was sitting with the CEO at their office as a full-time and working with him on some more problems as their executive assistant or COO. So no matter if I was engineer or designer, I was a problem solver at the first place. And I think problem solving is the most essential skill for any product manager or founder, because if you can solve problems in a creative way, you can do anything. And one lesson that I noticed is that if you want to be successful in life in terms of network and money and everything else, it is equal to how severe problems do solve. So if you want to go big, be prepared to solve big problems.
Yeah.
And you also need to make massive actions to solve those problems. And to see if you are doing the massive actions is the fun part, because if you are doing just enough action, the more problems appear.
Yeah.
More problems than you can solve. And this is your sweet spot. This is where you want to be.
Yeah. I think one point also there is that you're a very good listener, right? That's why people wanted to talk to you. And I think that's one skill set that, product managers or people in tech, should have more.
Yeah.
Just because, we always like building sometimes by ourselves because we feel that we're more efficient. But actually, when you build something, you always have to involve everybody, right? And you
Yeah.
have to consider all different facets in order to build something that serves a lot of people, in the right way.
I think that's very true because understanding the problem
Yeah,
starts with empathy, and empathy starts with active listening.
yeah,
So that's very true.
yeah,
But I'm wondering, you mentioned that you studied project management,
yeah.
but your first job was product management, and since there you are in product.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking, what did you take from project management into product management, and in the other hand, how it differs,
Yeah.
project and product?
I mean, project management, I feel, is one of those skill sets or foundations of being a product manager. Because project management in general is very process oriented. It's very operationally driven. So it's all about being able to follow these steps in order to get to a solution, being able to look at different dependencies between different tasks, between different parts of the team, being able also to manage timelines, and those are critical things that a founder or a product manager should know. However, product management is more than that, man. Product management is being able to, wear multiple hats, be able to really be a cowboy. Just that's a term I don't know we use in the Philippines, probably not in America, not anywhere else, but in general, it's being able to wear multiple hats, try to solve different problems in the perspective of different individuals that are part of a team,
Hmm.
and really owning, that problem from end to end. So if you're given a problem and you have a design issue or a user experience issue you have to solve, you have to wear that hat.
Hmm.
So a lot of product managers have this imposter syndrome. They always feel like they're not good enough, and they need to work harder or study more or be better because everybody else is better. But to be honest, each product manager is different, and each product manager with their own experience, I feel they'll be able to solve different facets of the problem in different ways. So there's no perfect PM, as you may call it. So something that I learned was that project management is not the same with product management just because you solve different problems, and you have a bigger responsibility that you have to manage. How about you? What is the biggest surprise, perhaps, that you've had transitioning? Because you also did project management, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think that is the amount of ownership that
yeah,
you and the responsibility. Actually, I find out that the product manager role is very, very close to CEO or founder role
yeah,
because what is the product? Yeah, you have to own the problem that you are solving. You have
hmm,
to know everything about your customer. You have to be the voice of the customer
yeah,
inside your team, almost be the customer
yeah,
themselves. You need to know how to give them the value proposition of your
hmm,
product, so what they react on, how should you position your product. So
yeah,
you also go into kind of
yeah,
marketing thing. Then you need to know insights about your competition. How
yeah,
do you differ from the competition? How you are different, and how will you earn money? And how will you acquire users? So if you put it all together, this is product. Or CEOs, they also fundraise money from the investors. But as a product manager in a company, you are kind of a fundraiser because you have to make influence on stakeholders, be it the CEO,
hmm,
or be it your team members or the members of other
yeah,
teams, to get buy-in for your initiative that you want to make. So I think this was the biggest surprise. But if you look at it, in many successful startups and companies,
yeah,
the founders are former PMs, former
yeah,
product managers. So it is the most common role to transition to when we are talking about successful
yeah.
founders in startups. So this is also what I like, that it is quite complex, and it can really, being product manager, it can really prepare you for founding your own venture
Yeah,
later.
definitely. I feel like and not to be exclusive to product management. I mean, this is just because it's a theme of our podcast.
Yeah.
But in general, I think anybody, that come from different backgrounds can become a founder. I think we're just saying here that because of the exposure that we have with product management, that you're able to solve multiple problems or different problems, wearing different hats, coming from different backgrounds, I think the foundational things or the frameworks you can learn from product can actually help you as a founder, right? Yeah, so
But
that's good.
what would you say is because our story is different because you are in product since ever.
Mm-mm.
So what you would say that was surprise after all the years for you in product management?
I think there's never, I think learning never ends, you
Yeah.
know, that I think in time, obviously you get older, but in time, as you learn more product management, there's no perfect way. There's no perfect product manager. There's no best way of doing things. I feel like everybody has their own unique experience that for me, because I've spent time already with product management and I've stretched my muscle being able to solve different problems, sometimes it's easier for me now to propose a solution just because at the back of my head, I know already how to solve a certain problem. So let's give an example. Let's say we have a founder who let's say that he or she, they haven't gotten product market fit. Okay. And they take so much time, nobody's buying their product. At the back of my head, it's easy for me to start thinking about, okay, number one, let's look at the core metrics. Number two, let's see if we've exhausted all of the solutions possible to solve, the problem with the current feature set. And then third, how do we pursue our pivot, right? Those things are not taught directly to you by a book or by a course, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these are things that it's because I've done this multiple times. I know already, or there's a framework in my head that I know what to implement in order for me to solve that problem. And I think the surprise there is that I didn't study that, but I think later on you define what product management is using your own experience. That's why I think one advice, and I think I'm going very fast here, and we'll go back to this later on, is that I think a lot of people who are in product just have to be patient, man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're patient, waiting for clients to come in and
Yeah.
studying and learning more and learning frameworks more from more authors. Um, and then for me, I'm still learning, I'm still learning. There's AI now that we all have to adapt to. So that's another level of, I think, knowledge that I have to acquire, as
Mm-hmm.
part of my tool set.
So what do you think is the biggest challenge for you in product manager role?
Well, for me, I think the biggest challenge in well, number one, there's a lot of challenges being a PM. Number one, why the heck are we doing this? Right? But at the end of the day, there are a lot of, I think there are a lot more reasons why we love doing it more than we don't. And I think for me, like, one of the biggest one of the biggest challenge for me in being a PM is really the imposter syndrome. I feel a lot of people talk about it, but also don't talk about it a lot. But because there's so much good product managers out there, we always compare ourselves with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this term called keeping up with the Jonases. We're trying to keep up with everybody because we want to be as good as them. But I feel like we have to look at them as mentors mentors or people that we idolize because we want to be like them, not because we're pressured to be them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, one of the biggest challenges is, we feel like we're not good enough. We feel like when we work with product, there's somebody else better who can solve this problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the solution there, man, is being able to really own up to your story as a product manager,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And to, I think, enjoy this and understand this as a learning experience for you as you try to solve these problems and then be able to always give yourself this, message that you're good enough, and
Yeah.
or probably you have to just be patient and give it enough time.
Yeah, you were talking about mentors.
Yeah.
And if I can give one advice, or if
Yeah,
there's one
please.
thing I did right in
Yeah.
the beginning of my career,
Yeah.
was to find a mentor.
Yes.
And I had a great mentor, senior product manager from a unicorn company.
Yeah.
And I have to say that extremely accelerated my career.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I had a mentor. And I took it as a concept and I use it every time. Every time I see a very essential skill I need to master, I find a mentor. And I usually go and find someone really good in the industry, not just someone, but someone really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important that you find someone who already achieved what you are trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So it's not only theoretical, but still is 3 to 5 steps ahead, not 20. So they can still relate with you. And I think people are sometimes scared to go and are thinking, I mean, what should I give back, or what they get back? Why would they do it in the first place? And from my experience, when you come humbly and tell them, okay, I'm a beginner, I'm a newcomer, and I really appreciate what you do and how you do it, what
Yeah.
you achieved. I want to be as good. Like 9 times of 10, they will help you.
Yeah.
Be it one call, or many times you can arrange like ongoing mentoring or something like this.
Yeah.
And the crazy part about this, it works with competition too.
Yeah.
Like I come to my direct competition and tell them, look, you are 5 years old, we are just starting, and I like what you did.
Oh,
You
it's a good
make amazing
perspective. Yeah.
products. Can you give me some advice
Yeah.
on how to start?
Yeah.
And again, 9 times of 10, they'll help, because the successful ones know that it is not a war, but it is a collaborative work,
Yeah.
collaboration, even when you are competition.
You know, one thing that that I've always listed this as one of my most important values actually came from a movie, and I won't say the name of the actor because I forgot, and I might say somebody else that you have to edit out later on. But in general, it's called Pay It Forward. So this movie was about this kid just trying to create a difference by doing good for somebody else. And instead of giving that back, like good karma,
Yeah.
that person who he gave a good, I think did something good to, should pass that on to somebody else. So it is a concept now of like not asking for anything in return, but just keep on giving, and eventually that went back to the same person, in I think in good vibes or whatever luck he had in the future. And that's something that I believe also in product management, and I've seen this also with a lot of the people that I've worked with. So another tip there is really surround yourself with amazing people that is willing to pay it forward. So I've had leaders, and I'd love to invite some of those leaders. They're actually like a lot of them are women who work in tech, and they've been the most amazing people that I've worked with. They've taught me a lot of these. Like one of them is really paying it forward too. So every time they gave me advice, they didn't ask me like, "Hey, Dust, I need something back." But it's more of like, without telling me directly, Dust, why don't you teach others how to do it? So just one quick use case. I know we're product, so we always talk about use case, so it's easier to understand. But in general, one of the use cases was that one of the first things I learned as a product manager in Silicon Valley was the chart on level of effort and impact.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Why do we need that? But ever since, I've carried that I don't have that paper anymore, but it showed you a chart of level of effort and impact. And I always remember that that's how you prioritize, your work with engineers. And when it becomes so busy in your head because you have to think about so much things, that's something you have to remember. And just imagine, I didn't even need to give back, but I passed that on and I pay that knowledge forward to a lot of people. And that's what I'm doing now in this podcast, is really telling others that just keep on paying it forward. And that's how mentorship should be. Yeah. So Frank, what do you think is your biggest challenge being a product manager?
My experience as a product manager was always one team, me as the only product manager and in the company. So you have to do, and it sounds easy, right? One team, okay. But the reality is that that you do the execution. You are on the calls with the designers, with the engineers, doing the retrospectives, doing the sprint plannings, grooming the backlog. If you don't have a scrum master, we didn't. You are designing with the designer. You are doing interviews. So a lot of execution. But you also do the strategic work. So you are setting up the overall vision, you are setting up the strategy, you are doing the roadmap. So, but the challenge actually was that I was doing the strategic work, I was doing the execution, but in our structure, and it's pretty common that the product team has a flat structure, that no one is no one's boss. The thing is that there were some things we had to make different, some process we had to make different. It could be meetings, it could be how we write product requirements, or how we simply communicate. And to make this happen, there was some level of leadership and management needed from my side. And I think finding the balance, so I'm not their boss, because if you are their boss, what will happen is that they will be always waiting for what you will tell them to do. And this is something you don't want to. You want to have them like extreme ownership and empowerment. So the dynamic of the team is that you are all together responsible for your part, but you all have the same intention to build amazing product, not someone waiting for someone's order to do something, right? So to find the balance in leadership and management, but still be on the flat structure, it was very challenging for me.
How were you able to solve that? I'm curious.
Trial and error. Like, yeah, I mean,
experimentation.
yeah, I mean, the mistakes I made was taking frameworks like Scrum and stand-ups and stuff as they are, and trying to implement them without any more conversations, let's say. And the best thing what I could do was to run the retrospective and listen. Just listen to the team, to agree on the biggest problems we had in our development process, and to let them agree that those are the problems, and to let them design the solutions. Because like that, they had the buy-in. Because they come with the problems and they designed the solution. So they have buy-in for their own solutions, right? And I just then oversee it to make it happen. So I think this was the best choice I could do. To listen and incorporate them into really building the process.
I also had similar experiences to what you've had, managing multiple teams, managing one team. And it was really all about, I had two solutions there. Number one is being able to have working agreements. I call them WOW. Ways of working. But in general, ways of working or team agreements allow you as a team to agree on who does what the structure will look like, and what the ceremonies we have, just so that we can facilitate this team really well. And we reevaluate that every so often, and we fix whatever is broken or what doesn't work to improve on the process. Secondly, I think it's also on the leaders, like the CEO, to really set that culture of trust and what responsibilities the team have, and what they have to do in order for respect to be given to everybody. Right. So example, you're not the boss, but they also know, let's say it was part of the working agreement that product managers will really be responsible for the beginning, for the life and the death of the product. Right. So even if the CEO is not there every day, the product manager will be able to make decisions because they believe that will change metrics. And then because the team knows within that team agreement that this is how it should work, and the CEO has its blessing on this process, then people will just follow, right, and agree. So I feel like having this established, structure allows you to flourish much better as a team. But this is another topic and theme, I think, that we'll talk about with regards to teams.
We are speaking about the challenges of being a product manager, but I'm curious, what do you think is your favorite part about being product manager?
I think my favorite part is the part that we also hate, which is dealing with a lot of people and a lot of personalities. I think it's really a personality thing. Like for me, I feed my energy from people and being around people. I think what's best is that if you have very good people around you. So it's not only because it's exciting trying to meet everybody and trying to deal with all of these personalities, but also because they influence you, So not going back to similar to like that mentorship, that we've been talking about. If other people are able to teach you a little bit of what you don't know, this is me growing, and this is me being excited as a PM. One more thing is, and it's also a personality thing, I get bored easily, like for me, I'm not doing anything for 1 second, I already want to do something else, So for me, being able to wake up with a different problem every day, or let's say with a different challenge every day instead of a problem, let's shift it from a bit pessimistic to like optimistic. But having a new challenge every day is pretty exciting for me. And you can see that with by working as a product manager. It's just, it's just different every day, right? There's a different fire to put out every day, or there's a different challenge that we have to take on every day, which is pretty exciting. Similar to your question to me, what is your favorite part about being a PM?
I like that as you have so many soft skills and hard skills to master, it is also hard many times, but at the same time, it really pushes you forward and you never can stop evolving in this role. So I think this is one of the top things. I think it's my favorite about being product manager, that you constantly improve. And of course, the moment when you spend months on research and tens and hundreds and thousands of hours on designing and developing the solutions, all those bug tickets and problems, but then the day comes in and you shape the product. And then you just watch how users start adopting it, how they retain, so they come back to the features, how they are satisfied with the features. So this is very, very nice, very great moment, launching the product and seeing the impact when you know that from nothing you created something, of course, with your team and with everyone. But I think this is the top moment for every product manager to ship.
It's your
product.
baby, man. It's your baby.
It's your baby. Your baby product, your baby feature. Of course, in one day you start dealing with all the problems that appear after the launch because it's never perfect. And sometimes it doesn't work and users don't come in, and it happens that after that all months that you just throw away the feature because it doesn't work. But this is the part of the work. I mean, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, they were not perfect in every painting, right?
Hey, but even if they weren't perfect, people are still lusting over, whatever art they put together. The imperfect ones even have a higher value, perhaps, than the perfect ones. Tower of Pisa. I didn't like Pisa. I didn't like Pisa. Sorry for the ones who are Italian and from Pisa. I didn't like Pisa. It was overrated for me, but that's actually a work of art, that being able to slant and not being able to look like a regular tower, made it fascinating for a lot of people, right?
And it's, I have to say that it's interesting that very often it happens to me that you are working on something, really pursuing to ship a product, and then the day comes and it's very natural, right? It's not like, woohoo! When, the rockets, the aircrafts from Elon Musk land back to the land and everyone is clapping their hands. Okay, nothing like this happens. Most of the time you ship feature or product, because I think that you are working on it, and when the day comes, you are like, you already live for so long in the presence of it. So what I like is to have a step back. And sometimes when I see products I don't even work on anymore, and I see them in public, I see them on conferences and something like this, it's very heartwarming that, I was building this. That's nice to have a retrospective what you have done also in the past, because sometimes you may forget that also it's good for the imposter syndrome, as you were talking about. Because like Dunning-Kruger effect, from the start you are very confident that you know everything, right? But more you start explore the area, the more you know what you don't know, and the less and less and less confident you are. So I think to deal with imposter syndrome, you just need sometimes to look back and see that you already built something nice. Maybe. Because if you just compare it to everyone else and to their shiny realities on social media, you will always be backwards. So if you could go back in time and give yourself one advice starting product management career, what would it be?
I think similar to what you've been saying earlier about, being proud of what you've shipped. I think I just have to be. I think the biggest thing I wanted to tell myself was to always be patient. Because we're always impatient. We feel like we have this clock that we have to beat. We feel like we have to rush everything. We feel like experiments should be done earlier because we don't have enough budget to run another experiment. But I feel like sometimes with what we do, you just have to take a breather. You just have to pause, appreciate what you have in front of you. Appreciate the work that you've done. Appreciate the initial feedback that you get from your customers, from your team, from the CEO, from people around you, you know, and then once you've kept your calm, then move on to the next one. Tackle the next problem, because I feel like in product, and I think for myself, I think it's also this immigrant, because I'm also an immigrant in the United States. I felt like I was always rushing, that I had the clock that I had to beat. But I wasn't enjoying every day being a PM, being a founder, being somebody who's working on a problem and solving it really well. But now that, I've had an X amount of years, in product, now it's time to really appreciate and realize and then process, because that's what we don't do enough, you know. I know there's pressures a lot, for everyone that's out there trying to get into product, trying to find a job now in product, or trying to learn more about product, but they're frustrated because there's no experience that comes in with the studying, and you always feel that you have to prove that, oh, I need to be an AIPM to get a job now. I think being able to take a pause and then process and appreciate will help you, think about better next steps or next moves. Not saying that I've done a lot of bad moves, because I feel like I appreciate the fact that I'm here now doing this work, even working globally, with
Yeah.
randomly that we've met in Copenhagen, working with
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
PM here in the Czech Republic, looking at opportunities around the globe. Like, I wouldn't have done this if I wasn't able to take a breather,
Mhm.
and I feel like if I did more of that, then I could have made more decisions. I could have done this earlier in my life or
Yeah.
career. So now that you're young, man, Frank, I think one advice is really just appreciate, what you have, and then think about your next moves and next steps.
Mhm.
Because if it's for you, not getting in deep into theology and philosophy, but if it's for you, it will come, right? Yeah,
Great. So I think
awesome.
this was the last question,
Yeah,
last block of our today's episode.
yeah,
So thank you everyone for listening to our podcast, and yeah, see you, hear you
yeah.
in the next episode.
Cool. Thank you, guys.